How do you want to be remembered? Is this something that you've even considered? What I do as a financial planner is help people identify the people and causes that they care about, and then help them put an estate plan in place to make sure that the assets that they've worked their entire life to accumulate will go to the people and causes that they want. In putting together an estate plan, there's three things to consider. One, we want to make sure that we are identifying the beneficiaries that we want to name in the distribution of our assets. Two, we are going to avoid paying any unnecessary taxes or minimize the taxation that we have on the transition of our assets. And three, that we avoid conflict and the possibility of our estate plans being contested. So when we put together an estate plan, we try to put together and use vehicles that can help to make sure that this process is executed flawlessly and that the beneficiaries receive the money as quickly as possible. Now, the one thing that I find most challenging for people is to try and figure out how to transition non-registered assets. Now, non-registered assets are money that's not in an RSP, not in a tax-free savings account, and it's money that needs to, the only way to transition or to actually name a beneficiary is to use what's called a segregated contract. Now, a segregated contract is an investment vehicle that's underwritten by an insurance company. And so they have the ability to allow us to name beneficiaries and make sure that those beneficiaries receive the asset that is accumulated in that non-registered account. The second thing that the non-registered segregated contract will allow us to do is to bypass probate. So by naming beneficiaries, we are able to avoid going through the estate process and in that case avoid paying probate. So in Ontario it's 1.5%, so we want to make sure that we can avoid paying that additional fee when we don't have to. The other thing that we can do is customize the distribution of the investment. So if you have beneficiaries that you're not sure are prepared to take on the full amount of the inheritance in one lump sum, we can actually customize it with an annuity settlement option, which allows us to specify whether they receive it annually or whether they receive it in a monthly format. You have the choice of how you want your assets to be distributed, and so we can work together to establish the best strategies to make sure that your wishes are fulfilled. When we're putting together our estate plan, it doesn't matter how old you are, it's never too soon to start putting together a will. 51% of Canadians, according to the Angus Reid poll, do not have a will. And this is critical. It's essential that we have some sort of will in place, naming an executor. The executor is the person that will fulfill the wishes that we've spelled out in our will, and specifying exactly how we want our assets transitioned to the people and causes that we care about. If we don't have a will, the government gets to decide how our assets are distributed, and you don't want that lengthy delay put upon your family. So make sure that you have a clearly crafted will. Make sure you've named powers of attorney so that your affairs can be looked after if you become incapacitated. And also make sure that in any case that you have the opportunity to name beneficiaries, be sure to list beneficiaries and contingent beneficiaries to make sure that your wishes will be executed. The other thing that I encourage my clients to do is to simplify and consolidate their investments. So if you have investments at many different locations around, say for example, the city, at different institutions, you're creating a nightmare for your executor because they have to go physically to each location and sort out your investments and deal with all of the settling requirements that each institution has. So by consolidating things and simplifying your affairs, you're making the life of your executor much, much better. If you have any questions about setting up your own estate plan, we would be happy to help. Please feel free to reach out and we'll talk soon. Thanks.